We live in a culture that proudly claims to know God. We acknowledge Him in speech, perhaps attend a service, and check the right boxes on religious surveys. Yet when it comes to planning our futures, managing our finances, and making our daily decisions, we operate exactly as if He isn't there. This behavior has a specific name. If you look at this chart contrasting our claimed belief against our actual actions, you see a stark contrast. This gap defines what we call practical atheism, intellectually believing the creator of the universe exists, but treating him as a mere accessory rather than an absolute authority. The cure for this delusion is a reality check. We have to examine what actually happens when humanity is confronted with God's unfiltered, terrifying presence. To see that, we have to travel back to the ancient Near East. Imagine standing with Joshua and the Israelites. They are terrified, camped at the very edge of the Promised Land, staring down hostile armies and heavily fortified cities. Joshua is about to learn a harsh, necessary lesson. Surviving the Promised Land has zero correlation with Israel's military strength. It requires understanding exactly who is leading them. Their first massive obstacle is physical. This is the Jordan River, and at flood stage, it completely blocks the Israelites' path into the Promised Land. Then, a supernatural event clears the way. The rushing waters are cut off entirely. They stop and stand in a single massive heap, allowing an entire nation to cross on dry ground. This event defines a specific attribute. God is omnipotent. Omni means all, and potent means power. He possesses absolute, infinite control over all of creation, including nature itself, meaning He can and will do whatever is necessary to accomplish His promises. Fast forward to the eve of their first major siege at Jericho. Joshua is alone when he encounters a mysterious man standing with a drawn sword, the commander of the Lord's army. Joshua asks a deeply human question: "Are you for us or for our adversaries?" The commander's answer is a single, shocking word: no. God is entirely sovereign. He doesn't join our agendas. He doesn't take our side. He demands that we submit entirely to His. Jericho was a massive, impenetrable stronghold, yet its walls fell completely flat. They collapsed strictly because the Israelites perfectly obeyed God's strange, highly specific instructions to march around the city. Compare that massive victory with what happens next. Israel sends a small brigade of 3,000 men to take the tiny, seemingly weak city of Ai. The result is an immediate, devastating defeat. The root cause of that defeat was hidden inside the Israelite camp. A single man named Achan had directly disobeyed God's commands, stealing forbidden items from Jericho and hiding them in his tent. This introduces two unyielding realities: God's holiness and His justice. He is absolutely morally pure and cannot be treated casually. When His people harbor entrenched wickedness, He actively opposes and removes it. Once the Israelites aggressively dealt with Achan's sin and removed the disobedience from their camp, God offered a second chance. He led them back to Ai, where they executed a flawless, victorious ambush. God offers profound grace and mercy, but those gifts are reserved exclusively for the repentant, those who respect His absolute holiness and submit to His commands. When we look at Joshua's entire campaign, we see a visceral masterclass in experiencing the true attributes of the Creator. There is a core theological reality tying this all together. God is immutable. His nature, His power, and His expectations have not shifted a single degree since the days of Joshua. That exact same God still demands complete obedience today. He still offers grace to the repentant, and He will still ultimately judge our actions, whether good or evil. This leaves us with a stark reality. Practical atheism, ignoring God in our daily decisions, finances, and ethics, is a dangerous illusion. It is a fragile mindset that shatters the moment it encounters an unchanging, holy God. At the very end of his life, Joshua gathers his people and issues a final, dramatic ultimatum: choose this day whom you will serve. That ultimatum stands for us right now. We have to abandon our modern idols and step off the fence of passive intellectual belief. Surviving and thriving requires active, complete surrender to the absolute sovereignty of the one true God.